This seems dirty. Is this any better sound? Ronti, are you not on yet? Is the sound any better? Nothing?
Oh, way better.
Oh, okay. Sound better? Because we're on a different platform now. Now we're on the laptop, not the cell phone. But as you guys can see, we got nice trophies in the background. So I wanted to talk about electric cars, trucks, I don't know, anything, I guess, electric motorcycles now. There's just so much EV on the market. I feel like I'm a little burnt out with seeing electric trucks. And I probably stand alone here in the chat, but I really do enjoy electric trucks and cars and any vehicle. The video quality is bad, but thankfully, you guys don't need to see me. You can do this all listening. So, like I said, I'm alone on the electric car thing here. Most people don't like them, but I think that a couple of them are really cool. The Chevy looks terrible, and it's probably going to be pretty bad. And the Ford looks awesome. It looks just like a regular Ford truck, so that's good news for us normal truck drivers. And then it's probably going to perform a lot better. So I've said it before. I think Ford is probably going to end up winning in this electric space because I just don't think that any of these other cars are really going to be able to do what Ford is doing. The Rivian seems really cool, but it also just it seems like any small manufacturer like that is always going to have trouble. Tesla did it really well, but their infrastructure took so long to build up. But who knows? Been wrong before. What do you guys think on electric vehicles? I'd love to hear some other people's opinion on it. I truly think we are going into a much more electric field, but obviously everybody's got their opinions on that. Everybody says the power grid can't handle it. I don't know. I'm not a lineman. I don't work in the power grid at all, so I don't really have any opinion on that. But it's kind of one of those things where somebody probably in this chat knows more than me about how the power grid can handle it. LS the world, EV torque, yeah, all those good things. Sony just came out with theirs. I don't really understand that. I feel like Sony building a car is a little odd when their factories build things that are about this big. I don't know how they're going to scale up to building things that are drivable and EPA. I mean, yeah, EPA and all that good stuff. Boomers are scared of change. That's pretty factual. So, I tow with my diesel truck, and we all know the government absolutely hates my diesel truck more than anything. And I understand that. They really do hate it, even though every good and service that is performed usually has a diesel truck behind it. So I don't know how they get their logic, but it definitely costs more to ship everything because of that. The other interesting thing about these trucks is they're all independent rear suspension and front suspension, which is normal in a lot of trucks. Everything but like Dodge diesels is independent front suspension at this point. But IRS for suspension on a truck is a little odd. That makes me feel like it's a light duty vehicle, no matter what you tell me, no matter how much you say it tows, no matter any of that. If it's IRS, it's probably light duty. Diesel, lots of emissions. I don't know. I feel like the diesel stuff has been blown out of proportion. I don't think it's as emission extreme as they say, unless you're rolling coal all the time, which I don't see any reason to roll coal. It's basically just making your truck run terrible in the purpose of a little bit of black smoke coming out. No, I understand the IRS can handle a lot of power in the rear, but I mean, it's just it's never gonna be as good as solid rear axle for, things like towing and handling a lot of weight and stuff. Like it's just not as good. Even for anything. Towing capacity will come later. Yeah, I get their A lug. So they say 300 miles without towing. So if they do start towing, I mean, you gotta cut that in half. I mean, even like when my truck is towing my little aluminum trailer with a race car on the back that's arguably pretty heavy, it can still tow pretty well, but it cuts the range down in half. Yeah, barely 150 miles. Like, yeah, JH's point about materials and mining. I mean, obviously, you know, I don't work on the supply side of, mining materials and that kind of stuff. There's really no way to know truly exactly the numbers on that. I I definitely lean towards agreeing with him, but like I said, I don't know, so I don't want to just like throw out how much mining and materials because, there's a lot of mining that goes into making a diesel truck engine. Like think about all the materials that are included in my car. There's freaking stainless, there's rubber, there's all kinds of petroleum based products just to make that. There's aluminum, there's steel, there's literally every material on my truck that I tow with every day. And I can imagine there's a lot of mining that goes into that and a lot of forging of these parts and the casting of all these parts. Like there's a lot that goes into that. So it's kind of hard to say. I can't really say for certain. I mean, the batteries are pretty simple. Electric engines are pretty simple, and I do like them, but I feel like we're just getting destroyed by them. And like I said in the last stream, I like capitalism and I like the free market. So I would always lean towards the point of we vote with our wallets, and if the market wants electric cars, we should just be able to buy them, and if we want diesel trucks, we should be able to buy those. I don't understand this whole like EV is the future thing. I think they should be able to live together. I think in racing, we should be able to have electric vehicles compete in any class they can fit into. I don't think we should ever have an electric class specifically for electric vehicles only in racing. I think it should always be, if you fit, you fit. You shouldn't have to like, yeah, you shouldn't have to race by yourself, if that makes sense. Let's see some of these comments here. They should be focused on hydrogen. Honestly, the hydrogen stuff, I know that it's better. It just doesn't seem, enough for me. Like the hydrogen seems like a really cool idea, but it just seems like it's way too difficult to get the masses on board with hydrogen being around because, we have gas already at every pump and we have electric already at every place in the world basically has electric. So it's pretty tough to want to get on board with like a complete hydrogen system for a lot of cars. I don't know enough about it. I'm sure it's safe and good, but it's just not good enough. Yeah, high pressure tanks are dangerous. Nobody wants a high pressure hydrogen tank, sitting under their child in the back seat. Yeah, diesels on vegetable oil run really well. Seen a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, like in the UK, small engines with turbos. I like hybrids, honestly. I really do because in my mind, an engine that runs at a constant RPM, just solely focused on charging your batteries, is a really good system because you literally just have to charge your one batteries with your little engine running at a constant RPM that is known to be the most peak efficient RPM and never has to really change unless it wants to up RPM to another peak efficient RPM to charge the batteries faster. So hybrid seems like always the best move. And then you use the electric as the propellant, because electric is obviously better for the low end torque. The fun, like the, the fun factor of the electric is truly there. I've heard a lot about the cold weather too. Electrics don't work very well in cold weather. I know that, they do work pretty well in cold weather. I From what I've seen, every computer that I've had always works pretty well in cold. All power tools and stuff works pretty well in cold. So I don't really fully buy that unless you're in that like negatives where it's like you got to be crazy to live there to begin with. Steam would be awesome. I would love to build a steam powered car at some point. I think the balls out thing is the best. The balls to the wall. That's where steam comes from. That's a term that came from Steam. Really do like that one. Yeah, older Teslas used heaters, take a lot of electricity, yeah, but they're still you still can use them. Yeah, once you're in the negatives, I mean, what cold for me in Florida is like 30s is really cold. So I don't under anything below 30s, you're crossing into that really cold, and diesels don't like that either. So you kind of which one, like you plug your diesel in overnight if you're in the cold, but you don't want to plug your Tesla in and let it be, warmed up in the cold. I don't know. There's a lot of debate there. What do you guys think of that new electric Silverado? Have you seen that thing? It's pretty freaking terrible. It looks like a new rendition of an Avalanche that they rebadged as a Silverado just so that, you know, they could continue using the Silverado name. Is there a rule now that the one namesake has to be so efficient? So they had to make a very efficient one to fight back the very inefficient ones. Is that the plan here? Like the the name has to be so efficient. I feel like that's something that has to do with it. That's why Ford is still using their Lightning terminology, but it's still an F-150, which is a lot better and at least looks like an F-150 and shares all the same parts, because that's the other thing. If you don't share parts, I mean, you guys know, buying parts for small manufacturer cars, if you ever had to do that, is terrible. Big block blown, do it for Dale. A blown big block is pretty cool, but if you ever stand near one for too long, you don't want to stand near one any longer. That's my opinion on it. That's why my hearing is not as good. I honestly like the new Ford Mustang, the Mach E. I think that's a good-looking car. Don't I don't agree with using the Mustang name for it. I feel like that was a little unnecessary. They could have just called it something else. But again, are they using it as peak efficiency so that they can say the Mustang has a huge range of how efficient they are? That's maybe my thought. I don't know. Is the Camaro going to be electric next, or are they just going to get rid of it completely? I don't I don't ever want to switch my whole freaking car lineup to electric, but would I drive an electric car every day? Heck yeah. Yeah, hybrid truck. Put a gas motor in the back of one of these trucks to let it constantly charge these things, and then that would be really useful. I would be all for that. So that at least you can do something if your batteries are dead. Hellcats are done next year. Well, I mean, in Dodge's defense, that Hellcat body, both of them, the Challenger and the Charger, have been going on for so long. Like they've been going on for what, 15 years? They've had that same platform, and it's still the best-selling muscle car. 15 years of it. So might as well just send it out while it's on top instead of wait until wait until it's dead, killed by the other car companies. Yeah, no more gas for Hellcats. Hellcats were definitely on the top of the inefficient level. I believe that Dodge was doing some stuff where they were paying for tax credits from electric cars to where their lineup looked more gas efficient than it actually is. So they were doing some backdoor deals, I guess, is what I've seen. Is a Scatty a Hellcat? I don't know if it's a Scat Pack. If you own a electric car, you really do like them. I spent about 5 days, I think, test driving a Model X, and I really love that thing. If you get behind the wheel and actually enjoy one a little bit, and you realize you don't have to stop at the gas station, you really do like them. Hosting events, I don't know if that's for me. I do enjoy going to events, but I don't know if I have the bandwidth to host my own events. I have other things I'd rather dedicate my time to. I think I'll just stick to being a patron at events for now, but who knows? Maybe that'll change. Um, I I mean, a lot of apartments have electric vehicle charging, and from what I've seen, they're always the best parking too. Like, basically, they moved out some of the handicap spots and put electric parking. I don't know if that says anything about the type of person that owns an electric car. I would love to come back down under. Maybe send an electric burnout car down there to really amp people up. I've always had talks about an electric burnout car, and everybody's always called me crazy. Chip hopefully will make sick week. I have a lot of parts coming and probably a lot of late nights. Driving 60,000 kilometers per year and towing from time to time with a Model X P90D. And do you enjoy it? Because, I mean, I can't imagine not enjoying that. EV is going to drive the used car market up. Yeah, I hope it does. I worry that with the way that things are going, the used car market might be a little tougher because you, a lot of states, I imagine soon enough will have to, a lot of states soon enough will have to have a minimum amount of emissions that each car puts out no matter how old it is. So I think eventually there's just going to be a situation where some of these used cars, whether they're 2006, 2004, 2005, like in states like California, are just not going to be okay, no matter what. If they don't pass the current emission laws, you cannot own them in California. That's how it seems it's going to go. Yeah, I think about selling that car all the time because the used car market is so great. The Ford electric crate motor is a really cool idea. I think electric motor swaps are probably one of the cooler things you can do with an electric car. I think just the fact of having like an old, muscle car or old hot rod that's got a electric engine in it is a really cool concept to me because, you know, every swap has been done countless times at this point. So you just get kind of bored of it, and the idea of the instant torque and the no sound of an electric swapped car is pretty great. Well, congrats on the wedding. Thank you so much, Greg. Appreciate that. You know, that is actually pretty interesting. Screw that. Where is the cool sounds of the exhaust? So think about that concept a little bit and think about any car from 2018 up and think about the exhaust note. How many of them truly sound good? How many like newer cars truly, like, not like an older car that's just got a new badging on it? Think about like a 2020 car that just came out, 2019 car that just came out. How many of them truly sound good? Think about all the new Ford F-150s. They're all coming out with, like, what are they? The V6 EcoBoosts. They don't sound good. The new Corvette, have you heard it straight piped? It makes some weird sounds sometimes. It does that dual clutch like fart in between shifts. Telling you, a lot of these new cars just don't sound good to begin with. It's not like a common thing anymore. When I was in high school, we used to freaking cut the mufflers off of cars all the time and they always sounded good. Not anymore. Go Evo. Evos are cool, but they are a little too tight of engine bay for me. The VR6 sounds good to this day. That's fair. The Mustang will probably be Brontes. The new Z06 Vet sounds, well, I can't really speak for that because I haven't heard one in person. And I don't know if anybody else has really heard one in person. I know that the C8 base model sounds good, but it's not really like brand new because it's just the old engine into a new car. And if anything, the transmission kind of hurt the sound of it. I'm officially not a car guy. Definitely not. I like cars, but they don't need to be overly loud and they need to sound actually good. The Vet sounds like an Italian car. It does. It sounds pretty good, but the Z06 is a new engine, but I haven't heard that one. I've heard the base model C8, but where are all these C8 Z06s at? I haven't seen them. When do they start delivering? Yeah, the quieter the car, the better. Not to an extent, obviously. You want to hear it, but you don't want to hear this insanely loud noise like all the straight pipe freaking Mustang guys that come to the racetrack where they have the loudest car you've ever heard that goes about, 1280s and for some reason is straight piped. 20B is probably the best sound ever. Turbo mufflers are all you need in life. I did see Amelia's video, her talking about the Z06, but at the same time, it is just a video and it was not really, not exactly easy to tell exactly what it sounds like because it's just a video. I need to actually hear one in person in normal driving scenarios. Like I got to spend a full day with the C8 and I realized that that thing was kind of quiet, but yeah, but you can't tell from a video. That's not fair. Straight pipe diesel sounds good. No, they're not too bad. It depends on the diesel. I mean, like a straight pipe 6.0 is kind of an interesting sound because it's all turbo, but like a straight piped Cummins is mostly just like a ticking noise from the valves and the cam. I agree. It sounded great in the videos. It did. The flat plane crank is really cool, really high revving. Definitely need to hear one in person, but pretty cool. I don't think I've ever heard a straight piped two-stroke diesel, but we're completely off topic now. Can we get back to the electric trucks? Oh, the Ford Raptor SVT is really cool. Do you think they'll come out with a electric Ford Raptor? That's the real question. Is pizza without cheese still pizza? Isn't that just bread with cheese on it at that point? Isn't it just like breadsticks? Jaguar F Type R. I haven't heard one. I remember the Ford Diesel. More tortoise videos. So the trucks will be great without Well, Lexus LFA is like a 10-year-old car at this point. That's Lexus LFA is definitely the best sounding car ever, but it's pretty old. They're not new in any way, shape, or form. And unsurprisingly, it's a Toyota product because Toyota EV Hummer, that car seems really cool, but it's also like $100,000, which is a little crazy. To me, that just seems like a little too much for an electric car, but I guess I guess that's the way that the car world is going right now. So that's the whole argument, is we don't have the infrastructure to have EVs, and I would agree with you, but I don't know. I mean, can my neighborhood sustain every single person charging their cars all night? Will every single person charge their cars all night, or will you only charge it when you need to? It's hard to say, because if you just plug in your car every single night, it's probably not going to be great for the whole grid. But in Florida in the summer, when we have our ACs on full rip and then everybody also plugs in their cars to charge, we may have some issues, some breaker issues. Yeah, California is definitely in a bad situation. No water, no electricity, a lot of laws, no freedom. They're in a tough situation. But like I said, I'll go back to this original point. I think everything in the world should be voted on by the consumer's wallet. If we don't buy the electric cars, they should stop making them. If we do buy the electric cars, make more of them. I don't think anybody should ever be forced into it. I don't think gas prices should be adjusted in a way to where we want to buy electric cars, because it's as simple as, if you buy it, they will make more of them. I agree, nuclear power would definitely fix it. You don't have to be a car guy to either want an electric car or not want an electric car, because there's plenty of people that don't want to charge their vehicles regardless. NASCAR, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. They have been straying so far from what people want to see, I think, and into such a weird world that they've created, that I think they're in a tough spot of their own. Yeah, I agree. That's definitely not how a lot of people want things to be. They want to pick what you buy before you buy it. It's kind of flip flop from what it should be. Bradenton should have a test and tune night tomorrow night. So Thursday at BMP, I believe. Yeah, Formula E is actually pretty interesting to watch. Those They sound pretty cool too. They sound like a bunch of bumblebees flying around. I I definitely support moving near Bradenton. I wouldn't be surprised at all if NASCAR announced full electric. That would not surprise me. The new Broncos are a really cool looking truck. Under the hood looks a little scary. Definitely something I would try to stay away from, is opening the hood on the Broncos, because it's not something you'd want to look at. Like, if you open the hood on my Tahoe, simple. If you open the hood on that Bronco, extremely overcomplicated. If you open the hood on my truck, my diesel, I wouldn't recommend it. Just turn away now. Ignore it. Don't go in there. It's nothing good. Just leave it. And they're actually kind of an unreliable engine, mostly because of DEF, because DEF is a criminal system that has been forced upon us by the government. So I feel like I sound like a crazy man. It's always the government. So that's the other thing about electric is, you're not charging your car all night. If it takes 2 hours to charge and your car's plugged in for, the whole night, it's not gonna be taking power all night. It's gonna turn itself off. You don't have to go unplug it to turn it off. It's like your cell phone, it'll stop charging once it's fully charged, but it's just gonna sit there plugged in. So if you only need 10% of battery, you plug it in all night, it's not gonna just keep taking electricity. As JH about working on diesel trucks, man, I feel for him. This new stuff, you got to hire a dang NASA scientist to work on this stuff. You work on like an older Cummins, and it's like the easiest thing ever. It's like one wire to start it. There's not even an electrical injection system, like the simplest thing. Now you work on this stuff, and it's just like a nightmare. Yeah, charging at work is definitely what I would recommend. Yeah, you definitely won't see them digging for batteries with electric vehicles. They'll definitely always be using gas-powered vehicles. We have no inspections in Florida, but deleting your truck, these new L5Ps are it's just a gigantic pain and it's super expensive. It's literally going to cost it would cost me thousands, like a couple $1,000 just to delete my truck, and then the issues you will run into potentially might be worse because of the delete tune that you ended up using, because they are not great. I've heard a lot of horror stories from trying to delete L5Ps. Never going to see an EV tank either. No, you won't. I don't think you'll ever see that. I bet that would be a little too easy to I guess get with like an EMP and take out like that. I don't know. I think deleting is becoming less common than more common. Seeing them come after companies that are just trying to modify your own truck is pretty crazy. Like I modify my truck or pay somebody to modify it, and suddenly that company is hit with a bill more expensive than the purchase price of my truck. It's crazy. Meanwhile, trucks like mine are the ones that are used to deliver these electric vehicles. Real pain in the ass. Gotta love government overreach. I like the new Toyota Tundra. I think Toyota's made some really good trucks in the past. I'd love to see them make a diesel truck, and they probably have the ability to, and they could probably make a really good diesel truck that would probably beat up a little bit on the American market. I know that they would make a better truck than Dodge. That's easy. I think walking is making a better truck than Dodge. It literally, I'd rather walk. But I think Toyota could, yeah, the Nissan Frontier with the Cummins was not that great of a truck. I drove one a little bit. It was really loud. Most people didn't like them, but it's not right to compare Nissan to Toyota, because Nissan is actually trash and Toyota makes great vehicles. So it's hard to compare the two. I would not put them in the same world. Nissan is just known for broken transmissions, poor build quality, while Toyota is known for kind of the opposite. Yeah, Toyota won't make one because they're smart. They wouldn't get into a market that the government is trying to kill. A Toyota Hilux is awesome, but they didn't give them to us in the US. Yeah, the Cummins that Nissan got from Cummins was not the best one. Yeah, Nissan's just Japan's Chrysler. Yeah. I think people look at Nissan and they're like, "Hey, wow, that's Toyota quality and Toyota reliability. It must be because they're from the same side of the world." They're not. It's a trap. Uh I don't know. I think an Xterra versus like a Forerunner is not really in the same world. Yeah, exactly. It was rejected by Dodge, and Cummins probably had a lot of them. So they're like, "Hey, yeah, Nissan used to make." So that's the thing. Nissan has a few good platforms. The Z is a good platform, and the 240 is a really awesome platform. But you have to take out everything about them. You have to take out the engines, and you have to, rebuild them. So it's kind of like, yeah, don't even get me started on RBs and Skylines. This started with an electric car conversation, and now I'm going to start going down the rabbit hole of how bad RBs are. People compare Nissan to Toyota. I'm telling you guys, it's crazy. That Rivian just doesn't do it for me. It looks like a weird version of like a Jeep. What are those? The Gladiators. Those Gladiators are interesting. They're kind of a cool truck for concept, but I don't know. The Rivian just looks weird. Nissan is better than Dodge. You're dang right. Again, the GTRs are cool, but they're pretty fragile. Anything past like 600 horsepower, and they just break everything. Break their trans constantly. All the they break the diffs. They break the motors. Listen, if Tommy Effia could drive one of his cars down here, like one of those reliable Nissans, we can talk. There is a few electric Camaros out there. The electric Copos go like 880s, and they're pretty awesome. I've never owned a Toyota as a daily, but from being around cars long enough, I know that Toyota is the best daily. Well, Lexus and Toyota, either way. So, I really do like Tesla. I like Elon Musk and everything, but they really need to step up their build quality. Their cars, if you ever looked at them closely, the panels, there's like crazy different gaps as you go farther up a panel. It's like, I don't know. I don't get it. It's just weird. They really need to step up their build quality. Nothing fits right. There's so many little issues on that. This is live. Welcome to the live. Yeah, so that Dodge with 1 million miles on it only has 1 million miles on it because they don't use a Dodge Chrysler engine. They get the engine from a really good company. They put it in, and then they hope that all the stuff that they built around it doesn't fall apart. It's very, very interesting concept. It's kind of like Chevy. Everybody really likes LS cars because of the engine, and they put blinders on to all these other things that are wrong with the cars just to get the engine. And then I bought one of them, tossed the engine. So the few people that I've seen that own the Ram Eco Diesels really liked them at first, but then started to have issues like right away. I know Mike with Mike Vargas had an eco diesel that he owned for I think like a year, and most of that time was actually spent in the dealership under warranty. So really cool, like, oh, I got a warranty, I don't care what goes wrong. It spent longer in the dealership than he actually owned it. So like, cool, you got a warranty, but like you can't drive your warranty to tow your vehicle. Yeah, of course, right. Very regularly maintained truck will last a while. That's definitely a big part of it. Yeah, I've personally broken two 68 RFEs. Two of them. I've never owned a Dodge, and I've broken two of them towing in cruise control. What? It was just towing under normal circumstances. Truck is 45 years old. That's pretty crazy. I don't have anything that old, I don't think. No vehicle. No vehicle that's older than me. Hello from Australia. Heck yeah, you guys got summer gnats going on. I wish I was down there for that. The new Duramax Colorados are really cool in concept, but they just don't seem to have the chassis good enough to do what they claim you can do with them. I've seen them broken in half before, and I've heard a couple other horror stories. I'd like to drive one for an extended period of time to really know, but the one that I saw broken in half did not strike much confidence into me. My wagon has 50,000 miles on it. Anybody else want my opinion on a car? It's not a full size Duramax. It's like a little it's like a little V6 Duramax. I will be brutally honest with any car. What's best EV? So, best EV is probably the Model X. The Plaid is cool, but it looks way too much like the S. I mean, it is a Model S for what you get. It's just like it doesn't seem like you're paying all this money for what seems like an unlocked version of an S. The Plaid is the X is really cool because you get those cool doors and it's an SUV and it's got the low center of gravity of a car, so it's seems like my choice. I would definitely like to own an XLRV. I've looked at them probably 500 times and I look at them weekly waiting for the great one to pop up and won't buy it when it pops up, but I'll I'll look at it. No idea on the Hyundai Elantra. I'm sure it's a decent car. It's probably one of those cars where like once it gets to like 80,000 miles, like it's basically mechanically totaled where you bring it to the dealership and they're like, "Yeah, and so much is wrong with it at this point. It's going to cost you more to fix it than it would to just buy a new one." There's the dealership over there if you want to go check out some of our new cars. I still have two CTSVs actually. One doesn't run though. Worst car you ever owned. The worst car I've ever owned is probably it's probably the SN95 Mustang before I pulled the engine out. That thing was pretty beat up and pretty bad, and like mechanically was pretty bad. Didn't the Nikolai? Oh no, that wasn't that car. I thought there was some issues with the Diesel brothers and their electric car. Wasn't there some drama there? I mean, if Mitchell wants to buy the Tahoe, he's more than welcome to, but he'd be crazy to do that. I don't hate on electric cars. I love electric cars. I dislike this crazy notion of every car company needs to have a full lineup of electric and a full lineup of gas when I don't think the market has dictated that people want that yet. Would you ever consider an MK5 Supra? Yes, I would actually. I was at the drag strip when Javier showed up from TRC with Victor, owner of Induction Performance. He got one of the first MK5 Supras, and I really did like it at the time. It was really cool car. I thought it was like such a great platform and going to be such a good running car down the line. I think they've kind of plateaued on how great they're going to be. I think like an 890 is like a 950-ish is probably about as good as you should make them before you just kind of get into into a situation where you're just dumping so much money into a chassis that's not going to give you the return on going any faster, really. Like they just plateau. What's the best year CTSV? So I think for driving, I personally like my V1 the best. I think it was a more fun car to drive than the V2. Obviously, the V2 is much faster, handles better, all that good stuff, but it just doesn't give you that same feeling. It's kind of like a C5 Z06 is more fun to drive than a C6 like base model. Obviously, C6 Z06 is really good, but the C5Zs are like top tier fun car to drive, and I just don't think that any new car is really going to match that old car, like that era of fun and enjoyment, because they just can't do that anymore with modern safety features and how heavy they have to be. So kind of just where it's at, like that was the pinnacle of how a fun, good car will be. And new cars are not going to be able to revert back to that pinnacle of enjoyment. The Rivian R1T seems really cool. I'd love to enjoy one. Love to try one out. Like to tow with one. They should be able to tow my setup pretty well. It'd be a fun deal. I'd like to try to maybe get like a new Ford Lightning. That would be a fun car for the channel. I think for going to Bradenton, that would be like the perfect car. And then you get there, you plug in your bottle heater for your nitrous and everything like that. And you don't have to like fight with running my diesel truck and all that stuff. Yeah, 11K tow rating. So, that's the thing. Like, how much could my truck really tow, my diesel truck? It could probably tow a lot. How much is it safety rated to tow is a whole different thing. Like, yeah, you can tow a whole lot, but at what point does it get to a level where it's too dangerous to tow with? I think that's where the rating comes in. So, like, yeah, it says 11K towing, but like, when does it stop feeling safe? It's the real question. I would love to talk to somebody at Rivian. My email is always open. Yeah, I think the Ford Lightning will do the best job at electric truck, at least. I think Ford probably has the best idea figured out. My own spaghetti sauce. That would be a tough one. It'd be real hard to compete with somebody like Rayo's. They just make such top tier spaghetti sauce. Yeah, 20K. I mean, 20K is heavy, definitely depending on how it's loaded and everything like that, and where you're going, but that would sound about right. I think Ford honestly looks a little better than Tesla as far as electric cars go. I think Tesla has that initial curb appeal and kind of the initial to market stuff, but I can't speak on the Cybertruck because nobody's ever seen one really. Even the ones that they showed initially, they said that that's not actually what they're going to be. The truck is actually much smaller, so it's really tough to say. I just how do you compare to a truck that's just conceptual in a way? Yeah, I mean, of course, there's laws with the CDL how much you could tow. I was just talking like the truck in general and when it becomes a safety issue. You can claim that your vehicle can tow a lot, but if you're actually behind the wheel, when does it actually become dangerous feeling? Yeah, C5, Z06, top tier car. You really can't beat them. Vaporware. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think Tesla just did that to get a bunch of money because everybody put their $100 deposits. So they initially got a huge amount of cash and then their stock price rose really high. And then they kind of just let it fizzle out in a way. And yeah, it's $100 refundable deposit, but you know, it's how many people are really thinking about their $100 2 years later? Most people think that that stuff's already gone. I have no solar on my house. Drive coast to coast nonstop with a trailer of batteries. That's the thing. Like, I've done a lot of long distance driving. People are always like, "Oh yeah, but I can't go drive 10 hours without having to stop for electric charge." It takes like 45 minutes to charge a battery fully on these new cars. And from somebody who's done a lot of driving all around the country, you're gonna want to stop for 45 minutes, many a times, at least 3 times if you're driving like, you know, 14 hours by yourself. You're gonna want those stops regardless. I don't understand that. Oh no, I can't just go drive 14 hours without having to stop for an hour. Like, what? Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, bad car business model to just take people's money on a false hope and promise. Does Bucky's have electric chargers on site? I don't know. I know you have to pay for a lot of the fast chargers, but I don't know. I don't think the Black Wings are worth the money. I saw one for like $134,000, and I was just kind of taken back because it just seems insane to me. As good of a car as it is, it does not seem like it's worth C7ZR1 money, which C7ZR1 is probably the last really great Corvette we'll ever see. I personally think. I think the C8s are cool, but I think that they're just kind of meh in my opinion. I didn't like the interior that much. I thought the C8 had a stupid that there's if you ever been in one, all the controls are like in a line like this, and they just look terrible, and it's a terrible place to be. Not terrible. It's just a unenjoyable configuration for buttons, and it makes the interior feel very rushed in a way. Yeah, Garrett didn't like his very much. I mean, he liked it, but it just wasn't worth the ownership. $250 for a C701. I thought I've seen them for like 170 or 180, which obviously is a lot more than 130. But when you're talking, once you start to get into that number, it all starts to mesh together a little bit more. Rocky Mountain Race Week, yes, definitely is the plan for the Mustang. Elon is definitely a genius, taking people's money. Tesla is a good vehicle. It is. Yeah, C7 Stingray manual, really good car. It's like one of the last Corvettes that you'll actually be able to just freely, happily modify. The Mustangs, I think, are ending up going that way. Right now, Mustang is the best drag car you can buy, new or old, that you can actually modify and, enjoy your own car because you bought it. You should be able to modify it any way you please. I haven't raced Pedro with the Baltic Supra. We talk all the time, but we haven't actually gotten to line up together, even though his car is probably about a half a second faster than me, almost a full second faster than me. So wouldn't be that great of a race, but it'd be fun. Yeah, I think Cadillac's about done with their V, unless their new cars are going to be the Cadillac CTS EV. You watch. Oh man, it's going to make me really cringe when they come out with an EV version of all their CTSVs. It's going to be painful. Mm-hmm. 10th gen Civic 1.5 turbo. I've never gotten to experience one, but Honda Civic's always been kind of a great vehicle. It's hard to deny their lineage of being such a top tier car. All right, I'm going to end it there. That was fun. We'll have to do this again sometime. Hope you guys all have a great night, great new year. It's already the 5th. Tomorrow is the 6th. Probably some big news coming out. January 6th is kind of a big day these days. So hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Go do something productive tomorrow. Read a book. Do something cool. But talk to you guys later. See you next time.